I mean, I'm gonna be in the ring different. Like I say to him in Spanish, he needs 20 like him to give me a little problems.
Excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch.
Canelo Alvarez means to the Mexican fans what Floyd Money Mayweather meant for black people.
At a live press conference, Canelo Alvarez gave a bold message to Terence Crawford, saying he was confident he would win. Canelo pointed out that his experience and skills were much greater, and he believed the weight difference gave him a big advantage. He clearly stated that since Crawford comes from 3 weight classes below, he doesn't see him as a real threat. Canelo was firm that his size, power, and background would help him take the win, and he sees this fight as a chance to show his place at the top of boxing.
Crawford, just won his debut at 154. Said if the money's right, we'll fight. Everybody wants that fight. What do you feel about that matchup? People saying the weight, all this stuff. How do you feel about that?
You know, everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything. And you know, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2, 3 weights class less than me. But if the money is right, why not? Right? Why not? But look, I'm focused 100% on Berlanga. I know I have a challenge in front. I never overlook any fighter. So I'm focused 100% in this, and then we...
Canelo, who holds the undisputed super middleweight title, has shown impressive power, accuracy, and defense throughout his career. His skill in controlling the pace and setting the tone of a fight has made him a top name in the division. Crawford, in contrast, is known for his speed, adaptability, and ability to fight in different styles. He's become undisputed in multiple weight classes and can switch stances with ease using his sharp boxing mind to find and take advantage of openings. This matchup between Canelo's strength and experience and Crawford's quickness and skill is set to be an exciting fight that could become a major moment in boxing history.
Terence Crawford said that he moved up and won, and Canelo moved up and lost.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won.
I don't think that was a strong point because Canelo Alvarez actually moved up and won. I mean, he moved up a lot of weight classes, but if you want to talk about light heavyweight, he moved up and he beat Kobe. Then he moved up again and he lost to Bivol. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he moves up to 154. He won 115, 113, but it was against an 11-0 Madrimov who didn't really have much of a resume, right? But there's a difference, to be real. I mean, Bivol is a Hall of Fame. Okay, this guy, you know, all-time light heavyweight. It's a bit different. Canelo did knock out Kovalev when he did move up. Okay, and Kovalev is a bigger challenge at light heavyweight than Madrimov at 154 for Terence Crawford. Let's just...
Trainer Joel Diaz pointed out how important size differences are in boxing, especially when smaller fighters move up to face naturally bigger opponents. He explained that just one punch can change everything, particularly if one boxer is used to fighting at a heavier weight. This view is important when looking at the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. While Crawford has shown great skill and adaptability, Diaz believes jumping 2 weight classes to take on someone like Alvarez is a big challenge. Alvarez is a natural super middleweight with size, strength, and experience against bigger fighters. Although Crawford is fast and technically sharp, Diaz feels those strengths might not be enough to make up for the physical gap. The key factor, he says, is being able to handle punches from a bigger opponent, and Alvarez's experience with that could give him the upper hand.
People that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov was a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat.
Canelo Alvarez's journey to the top has been shaped by his courage to fight strong opponents in various weight divisions. His wins over larger fighters have strengthened his image as a smart and tough boxer. Outside the ring, Canelo holds deep meaning for Mexican fans, much like the respect Floyd Mayweather Jr. receives in black communities. Born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Canelo's climb from a simple background connects strongly with his supporters. His story stands as a symbol of hope, hard work, and national pride for many Mexicans.
Canelo is beating these guys with all 5 layers of defense. Number 1, feet. Number 2, elbows, hands, shoulders, and the mind. This is exactly how both of those guys got to the highest level of boxing supremacy. Canelo Alvarez means to the Mexican fans what Floyd Money Mayweather meant for black people. 50 wins in boxing, no losses, no draws.
Sean Porter, a former welterweight champion who once fought Terence Crawford, has raised concerns about Crawford's ability to handle Canelo Alvarez's power. Porter respects Crawford's toughness, but questions if he can take shots from a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo. He pointed out that facing a heavier opponent is a different kind of challenge, and the weight gap could play a big role in the fight. Porter believes Crawford will need to avoid trading punches and use movement to stay out of danger. He added that while Crawford has held up well against hard-hitting welterweights, moving up to super middleweight brings new risks. Porter's thoughts show how complex this matchup is and stress how important strategy and adjustment will be against someone as dangerous as Canelo Alvarez.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out.
Promoter Eddie Hearn called the upcoming fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford a freak matchup because of the big weight difference between them. Crawford, who has fought at welterweight and light middleweight, will move up to super middleweight to face Canelo, who is a natural in that division. Hearn noted that on fight night Canelo could weigh around 185 to 190 pounds, while Crawford might come in at 168 to 170 pounds, giving Canelo a clear size and power edge, even though Crawford is highly skilled and has made history by becoming the first male boxer to be undisputed in 2 divisions. Hearn doubts he can overcome the physical gap. He added that even if Crawford fights well, the size difference might be too much, and a win for Canelo may not be seen as impressive because of the mismatch in natural weight classes.
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Yeah, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement if you're Terence Crawford in that fight. The last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course.
Dan Rafael, a veteran boxing analyst, gave a detailed breakdown of the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, scheduled for September 12, 2025, in Las Vegas. He called it a historic moment, with 2 of the sport's top pound-for-pound fighters set to face off. Crawford's move up to the super middleweight division shows how ambitious and confident he is. Rafael pointed out that while Crawford is known for his sharp skills, smart adjustments, and ring IQ, moving to a higher weight class brings new challenges. The physical demands and power at 168 pounds are very different from what he's used to. On the other side, Canelo has already proven himself in the super middleweight division with his strength, experience, and fight control. Rafael said Canelo's ability to dominate and stay composed in the ring makes him a serious challenge for anyone in that weight class. This fight is more than just about skill, it's about legacy. If Crawford wins, he could become a 5-division world champion and secure his place among boxing's all-time greats. For Canelo, beating a fighter like Crawford would add to his legacy and further prove his dominance. Rafael stressed that this bout goes beyond titles. It's about 2 champions testing themselves at the highest level. The hype around this fight shows how much is at stake and how respected both fighters are. As fans count down to this massive showdown, Rafael's insight gives a clear view of what both men are up against and what this fight could mean for the future of boxing. Canelo Alvarez has also said he wants this fight to be exciting for the fans. He looked back at his recent match with William Skull, which got heavy criticism for being slow and breaking a record for the fewest punches thrown in a 12-round fight since CompuBox started tracking. Canelo was frustrated by Skull's overly defensive style and wants something different this time. He's hoping Crawford comes to fight with energy and purpose, so they can give fans the action they're hoping for and create a truly memorable moment in boxing.
That's a mediocre mind. That's a mediocre mind because they come just to survive, to go to the 12th round. That's a mediocre mind. You need to put a good fight there and put great show. You know what I mean?
Do you think Crawford will employ the same tactics to try and box?
I hope not. I hope not because the people deserve a good fight.
What do you make of the Crawford fight next?
Huh?
How excited are you for the Crawford fight?
I'm excited. I'm gonna enjoy this win and then we think do it.
What did you think of Ryan Garcia's?
Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. believes the result of the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight depends on how smart Alvarez is in the ring. Jones said if Alvarez takes Crawford lightly or strays from a focused game plan, he could lose. He stressed that Canelo needs to use his size and power wisely, while also respecting Crawford's skill set. Jones pointed out that Crawford's ability to adjust and think in the ring makes him dangerous and ready to take advantage of any mistake, so Alvarez has to stay sharp and stick to a smart strategy to come out on top.
It's Jonathan Agioff here for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by, does he need any introduction, Hall of Fame legend Roy Jones Jr. here in the UK. There's a few questions about the US guys. Obviously, Tank and Lamont Roach, we saw the first fight, Lamont Roach shot the world. What do you think happens in a rematch if they fight?
I think he shocks the world again, but the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, different personality, different motivation, and I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time.
And obviously we know if Canelo wins against William Skull, he will fight Terence Crawford in September. Who would you favour in that fight?
You know, it's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo comes to the game.
Edgar Berlanga has shared his concerns about the upcoming fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, calling it a mismatch because of the big weight difference. While he respects Crawford's high skill level and sharp ring IQ, Berlanga points out that Canelo's natural size at super middleweight could be a key factor. He agrees that Crawford is mentally tougher and more skilled than Canelo's last opponent Jermall Charlo, but questions if that's enough to overcome the physical gap. Berlanga said that if Crawford were naturally a 168-pound fighter or if Canelo were closer to 147 pounds, the fight would be more balanced. Still, he doesn't count Crawford out, saying he's one of the best in the world and could possibly pull it off if he were bigger. He also recognized the fight's appeal due to the money involved and the historic aspect of a two-time undisputed champion going up against the 168-pound undisputed champ, but he warned that the size gap remains a serious issue that could affect how competitive the fight will be.
Terence Crawford wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring, I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him out. You know what I'm saying?
Ryan Garcia confidently predicted that Canelo Alvarez would beat Terence Crawford in their upcoming super fight, pointing to Canelo's size and control of his boxing style as key reasons. He stressed that weight classes matter and felt Crawford didn't show enough strength at 154 pounds against Israel Madrimov to handle someone like Canelo at 168. He said Crawford didn't look that strong against Madrimov, who isn't even that big, and that Canelo has fully mastered his style and always knows what's happening in the ring. Garcia said he just doesn't see Crawford winning this fight. His view reflects a common belief in the boxing world that the difference in size and experience between the two could be a major factor. While Garcia respects Crawford's talent and discipline, he believes Canelo's strength, skill, and ring awareness give him the edge. At the same time, Crawford's interest in fighting Canelo has drawn criticism from some fans and analysts who question his true motivation. Critics believe The fight is more about money and attention than real competition. They point out that Crawford is moving up 2 weight classes and suggest it's a strategic move to boost his legacy and earnings, especially since his past pay-per-view numbers haven't shown huge success. A fight with Canelo could give him more exposure and financial reward. However, Crawford has said that his goal is to test himself against the best and prove he belongs among the sports elite.
Terence Bud Crawford had to say on why he wants to take on Saul Canelo Alvarez.
I just want the opportunity, you know, to fight the best fighter in my generation that's out there. You know, he's the most accomplished fighter, and I would just, you know, just like to, you know, fight another great.
Which is a very noble reason. I mean, it's a reason that I can get behind. If you notice, his primary reason isn't money. He did say it'd be the biggest fight, which, you know, you do want a big fight, but I don't think he meant monetarily, which the money comes, okay? But what he's saying is he want to test himself versus the best. And I think he's telling the truth here, right? Of course you want big money and stuff like that, but I think his swan song is just him test himself up against the very best. Those are the reasons the war room.
Terence Crawford has openly acknowledged that his pursuit of a fight with Canelo Alvarez is driven by both competitive ambition and financial considerations. He has emphasized that when the right business opportunity arises, the fight will materialize. Crawford views this bout as a chance to enhance his legacy and secure a significant payday, recognizing the commercial appeal of facing a high-profile opponent like Alvarez. While some critics question his motivations, Crawford maintains that challenging himself against the best in the sport is a natural progression in his career. He believes that this fight represents a convergence of sporting excellence and business acumen, aligning with his goals both inside and outside the ring.
Canelo fight, you know, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. You know, I think business talks. You know, with the right business come across the table, you know, it happens. I just be talking, man. Canelo a big dude, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I believe in my abilities. He's a heavy dude, but he's not a big guy. Like, he's 5'8", I'm 5'8", you know what I mean? My arm's longer than his, you know? So that fight would be good.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for the next one.